Howdy. It's always easy to talk about weather. Everybody talks about weather. We are looking at satellite imagery, 12 hours. And I think it's very fascinating to have this kind of rather strong weather influence, which is coming straight from Canada, Northern America, from the Labrador Sea, east of Greenland. And it seems the push is just continuing. And there is some kind of a maybe it is a pattern which is emerging, but there is some border line, or however you want to put it, which is rather interesting. I don't know, I haven't seen anything like that. And it's very interesting. And if you go down south, the equatorial cloud band, or however you want to call it, it seems to disappear near the northern part of South America and also on the eastern part of Africa. There aren't any clouds, or very, very few. Furthermore, I somehow think it is also interesting to note how these are rising up here. I have been talking about this region which is trying to make a connection. At the moment, there isn't any. Because there is something like a double layering going on, so they don't connect at the moment. There has been connections from this region straight up here to Finland. At the moment, there isn't any. Maybe this northern weather pattern, which is like massive, that's huge. Like if you take the whole area here into account, that's huge. A huge region where we get, in some parts, there is sucked warm air in, and in some parts there's just so much cooler air coming in. And it is very interesting. And we are at the beginning of November, so the winter weather pattern it hasn't emerged yet. I haven't been looking about weather things recently, like too much, but I think as we go into winter and these massive kind of weather patterns just seem to emerge, we probably have to keep an eye on these too. And I think this might be the reason for the quakes we had in Germany yesterday. Convergence zone quakes, or however you want to call it. I think, let me draw a very sketchy drawing. This is a cloud which represents one weather system. That's another cloud which represents another weather system. This one is either stationary, and this one probably moves to this direction, as we have here, for example. In the middle, in the convergence zone, where we have this cloud band here, there's a cloud band, and you see it gets squeezed up northwards and in a way also southwards. It gets squeezed. But we can also think, or at least I think, that the energy is not only squeezed northwards and southwards, also up and down. So this, in a way, means that there could be some kind of energy getting induced into Earth, into the ground. That's why we got the quakes. Earth's stellar currents, the endogenous energy circuit of Earth, will react to these kind of things. And one way in order to manifest the reaction is earthquakes. Manifest reaction. And the reason why I still like I said, that as we go to winter and it gets colder here, we get at the moment it's rather warm, and but it will change. Like I once tried to, or I don't know, not once. I tried. I explained this many times since I found this map and made some own thoughts about it. That's the surface conductivity anomaly from EPOS, European Mega Plate Observatory System. This is the Kursk magnetic anomaly. Maybe I got to change color. Let's take this pink because it's visible. Kursk magnetic anomaly, where the clouds are, in this case. And the red might be positively charged and the blue might be negatively charged. I don't know. I have been asking them. They didn't answer, but took down the page. So I don't know. I have no confirmation on that. But I found this surface conductivity anomaly map because I was learning and watching weather. So I thought that as I noticed some repetitive pattern above Scandinavia, I'm somewhere here. I tried to figure out, is there anything in the ground which could affect the weather here? And this map is what I found. So since I assume that this attracts high pressure system, these blue attract low pressure systems. And the whole thing has a sea-page shape. I assume that we get every now and then a stream which goes northwards, because this is spinning this direction and this is spinning this direction. This is how magnets work. Here is a small picture of some radar imagery where we have exactly the band where it should be according to my theory, and it is. It's just more confirmation. And like I said, as we go into the winter, I think these surface conductivity anomalies and whatever else stuff is in the ground which could attract weather, like this German weather meteorologist man, scientist, professional, stated in one video from Deutsche Welle that it's somehow strange that in recent years, whatever weather patterns we have, is it a high or low pressure, they just seem to get somehow stuck in place. They don't move anymore, really, like they did in the past. Yes, I think surface conductivities and things like this are the reason. And there are more and more the reason for that, because Earth's magnetic field is weakening. Our poles are moving. They are not at the same position as they have been 20 or 30 or 100 years ago. The worst scenario of all is a severe frost and a windless high-pressure ridge that persists in the north, and Finland has not received an Olkiluoto 3 unit for commercial use. Zespia Ösh, director of the Energy Supply Department of the National Security Agency of Finland. I have been contacting the Finnish Meteorological Institute several times with this map, and I somewhat try to just ask a professional about their opinion. Because already in summer, already long before anyone was talking about any energy crisis things, I realized this might be very important in order to make any predictions about the weather. If you cannot predict the weather or whatever, you cannot do anything beforehand because you're gonna be surprised. And the result of my attempts is basically nothing. Just that they state at attempts. I've never received any answer really, or that there would have been a conversation going on. Like, one possibility is I write them and they just shut up, they don't answer, and that's it. Which is very often the case. Let's say 95%. Maybe. Sometimes they don't notice my mails because they go into the junk box or whatever it's called. Possible. The other thing is, I tried somehow similar things like contacting people in other countries, like for example Switzerland. And I have made a video recently about the positive feedback from Switzerland. And the person who answered me is from the ETH Zurich, and he is this kind of boss person there. Yeah, because I wrote first to one person, and there hasn't been any result, except that he admitting that I don't know, I'm not a professional at this particular thing. And I was asking him, do you know who, could you recommend me anyone to like ask these things? Do you know anyone? And I didn't get any answer. After a while, somehow this, like, there are many things which are nagging me all the time, obviously. It's a sacred gift of anger. I try to transmutate it into something useful, challenging, like understanding weather patterns as long as we have internet and satellites and all these kind of things might be very important. And time is running out. So I don't know if anyone listening here has ever heard about Mark Passio, but I have. I knew about him or listened to him before I learned about the electric universe, many other things, which blew my mind. I have been interested in nature all my life. I try to learn as much as possible, even though I haven't ever been a professional. Back in the days, I had my own apartment, and there was this corner of the couch, and it was full with science papers, like half a meter high or something. There were many, hundreds probably. And many people got scared. They just, if they came around, they sat down and then they just watched, took a paper, and then, what? Dude, you are reading science papers? Yes. But, you know, and the next time they came, they weren't sitting in the corner because they took distance. They were scared of it. It was a very interesting phenomenon. I have been reading about all kinds of things. But I have been reading Brian Greene, 1999. Anyone remember 99? For me, it was a very interesting year because I bought the book Brian Greene, The Elegant Universe. It took me many years. Like, I really tried to read that book, but it never, ever made any sense to me. In 99, there was also the movie Matrix. And this one dude, which is just there randomly, I don't know, probably has a name. I don't know. It's not a main character. They're eating there, and he just explains randomly, in a way, that all your thoughts are just electromagnetic impulses interpreted by your brain. And this was a sentence which haunts me till this moment, still. And some time ago, like I started my channel because I noticed that there's something going on with Etna. And it turned out I was right. There was something going on. A little bit later, it started to erupt and stuff. And I really decided it was a conscious personal decision that I want to know how things work. I want to know the truth because I got fooled way too many times. I did as I supposed to do. I obeyed. I did everything. And it didn't work out. Which in one point put me in a position where basically the only thing left was myself, some fishing equipment, and a cell phone. So I was buried under a huge mountain of question marks. I have so many questions about many things. And one day I thought that, after all, despite I've been told that you aren't supposed to know, you are just a construction worker or whatsoever, things aren't known. It's no way to figure out. It's no point. Live your life and be happy. And I was at a point that I had to, how to say it? Yeah, it was too obvious that something is wrong, like massively, like unimaginably wrong, because I heard so much bullshit of whatever stuff. Do this and do that and do this and do. I did, and it turned out to be worth totally nothing, or it was very expensive. So today I decided to follow the rabbit, see how deep the rabbit hole goes, gather as much evidence as possible. Because if you leave something out consciously, which is the worst thing you can do, there is no one can be blamed of about missing something. That's what everybody has to deal with. You cannot know everything. Most things I don't know. I don't know what shoe size you have. I don't know. There's so many things. Most things I don't know. But if you are stumbling across some phenomena, like I did with this weather pattern, which obviously also the Energy Supply Department of the National Security Agency makes some sorrows because there's a winter coming like every year. It might be a winter many won't forget for many reasons. And I figure out this weather pattern. I try to take contact with people, somehow try to warn them that, this pattern is an imprint in Earth's crust. It will go away one day. But until then, it will have a huge influence in the weather. At least here, Scandinavia, Russia, maybe even the rest of Europe. But the thing is, as you see, that's just a little part of the whole Earth surface. There might be many of these. No, it's not that there might be many. These are all over the place. Maybe not in this very particular shape and form. Of course not. I think this could be also an ancient imprint of a magnetic North Pole or South Pole, since it has very much similarities with the shape of the polar cusps, which are way out there in space, where the Birkeland current enters Earth's circuitry. But anyway, weather is happening all the time. It is probably one of the most important things to look at. Bad weather, no food. No food, big problems. Societies will crumble. The killer monkeys will awake. And if it's dark, if there's no electricity, there's no alarm bell ringing anywhere. You cannot call anyone because there is no phone grid either. And it's cold. We are entering very rough times. So I'm not sure, but I think these things are important. I have many reasons to talk about this. I want to I don't want to dive into those. But huh, I would have many names, many stories about these. And if you once could make your own mind up about these things, I am very sure you would agree with me. And it's also no coincidence that I wrote this paper. It was basically like I really tried to take contact to people and get a conversation going, and like I was very excited. I found something and tried to do whatever I can with doing my own research, microscoping things and whatever. But the wall of silence only got higher and higher. Then I wrote a paper, and the wall got even higher and even thicker. And it is very interesting. There is quite much at stake for either sides. So, Weather. It's all about the weather. But anyway, thanks for listening. The chickens, they were really silent. I don't know. They have heard me many times talking. Every now and then I make a video and I don't, I just delete it afterwards. Because I thought it's not worth it. It's no. Yeah, it's probably it would be too difficult every time to explain exactly why I made a certain video. Because the background to something is much bigger than the thing itself. Since everything is connected with everything. We are one. No one ever left planet Earth. So we are in this together. Learning together, sharing information, observations, conclusions. As long as we can. Because I am very aware it could be in a few weeks or tomorrow there is no videos coming. Because it's not possible for whatever reason. Never know. The only thing you'll ever have is this very moment. And actually now I just remembered about Mark Passia. He asks once this very simple question: are you one of the good ones? And by this he means, if you know something important and you don't share it, you don't try to do anything about it, if you just don't do anything, despite knowing that it's important or whatsoever, if you just don't, you are not one of the good ones. So people who contact other people and ask things or whatsoever, you can call them activists, I don't care, active people. Like, this is how it goes. History has an eye on us. History has an eye on every one of us. We are history. But anyway, almost half an hour again just talking about weather. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Bye.